Hello, welcome to another episode of Raine Plays The Sims 4. Today we're in the second empty lot in Newcrest, Oak Alcove. I noticed this is the lot a majority of YouTubers choose to build, micro homes, tiny homes, or just homes in general. It seems, or it would seem, a majority of YouTubers prefer tiny homes to large ones. I'm not blaming anyone. I'm not pointing fingers. It's just an observation. And while I agree it's refreshing to be in a smaller house, there's less to contend with, but I wouldn't say it's my preference that the tiny home is preferred to a larger, more spacious home. I just don't think it looks as elegant or grand, and I think that's what I enjoy most about my personal builds. And what I mean by that is when I choose to play The Sims 4, I have been known to give them tiny houses, not deliberately for the pack, but just a small home. But most of my builds are moderately sized and moderate to elegantly appointed. And I have to laugh at the word elegant because there are so few elegant items in this game to choose from. But not to get off track. This ended up qualifying as a tiny home. When I first started, that was what I wanted to do, build a tiny home. But I think because I kept going for a second floor, it kept disqualifying me. So I gave up on the idea and I said, just build the dumb home and move on. So I forgot about the idea until the very end, even after the tour. I'm like, I think this might qualify now. So I went back into build mode and I selected the option, and sure enough it worked. I cannot recall if it was something like 76 squares or 96, 98 squares is what I used. So it is a bona fide tiny home, and it does reap the benefits if you play in it that way. I've never tried it for myself to see how those benefits work, but I have watched several YouTubers, and it seems cool to me. To be able to gain skills faster is an ideal, because I recall before all of these newfangled items appeared in the game, that was one of the reasons I didn't enjoy playing the game their way, is because it just took way too long to gain anything, and that's not my idea of a good time. The music one was what really threw me right off legitimate gameplay. I had one of my Sims in the music career, and I was trying desperately to get her to be able to sell her music or whatever. I can't quite recall, I'm sorry. But the point is, it took literal Sim days just to get her to move up one more, whatever it's called. And I just couldn't take it anymore. I'm like, this is ridiculous. This is wasting my time and theirs. I'm not having fun. I don't want to do this anymore. But then thankfully I learned about cheats. And the best cheat at that point was maxing out their talent, skills, whatever you want to call it, their not traits, but their skill points. So I end up always, they always got a 10 in fishing. They always got a 10 in fitness. They always got a 10 in cooking and gourmet cooking. They always got a 10 in logic, and they always got a 10 in charisma, because those were the items that were used most for just about everything. Making friends, advancing in your career, not burning down your house, not dying too early, and being able to catch the kind of fish that you wanted to catch, to be able to put into fish tanks and hang on the wall. It just took too long, and I'm not that type of a game player. I'm not patient. If you haven't already noticed, I'm not a patient person. I have a very short temper, and I do not play games to mimic my miserable reality existence. I play games to get rid of that, it's kind of like reading a book. I don't want to read about war, nuclear holocaust, the aftermath of a zombie apocalypse. That's depressing. And life is already depressing. When I read and when I play, I'm escaping those realities. I want nice, neat, clean, beautiful, orderly, relaxing, and enjoyable. And I know I'm the oddball in this. A majority of people play this to make their Sims suffer, to get frustrated with the game and then complain about the game constantly. And that makes no sense to me. I'm sorry if you're on the opposite side of the fence. I'm not pointing fingers, so I don't think you should either. It's just me. I want to have fun when I play this game, so cheating is the best way to go about it. Plus, you work pretty hard to make them a decent dwelling, right? And then within an hour sim time of them being inside this house that you just created, they're going to burn it down? And you don't even have the simoleons to replace an item if they didn't die? No. That's stupid. Now, here's where it would be fun for me. If my sim were to go in somebody else's house and start a fire, that would be hilarious. I would do that all the time. It would be cool. Can they make other sims spontaneously combust? I think that might even be an option now. That's cool. But not to my own sim and not to my own creation. No, that's not cool. And then I think Carl mentioned it in one of his videos. They did bring back the firefighters, but what was the point? They don't show up in a fire truck. They don't have hoses. They just walk in and dance with you while the flames are licking up your legs. And then one of them grabs a fire extinguisher and puts the fire out, which, by the way, you or one of your sims will be doing regardless. It's just such a sad misstep on EA's part, or Max's, whoever does that. But I'm getting way off topic. I'm sorry. As far as the build goes, like I said, it is a tiny home. It does qualify as a tiny home. It's 1 bedroom, 1 bath, all on the first floor. The colors are, I wouldn't say neutral. I did a bit of a mix, like old and new. So kind of like the first build I did. He started fixing up the house to coincide with his own taste. So the rest of it is still the way it was when he bought it. So the wallpaper, obviously, the kitchen, obviously. And that's another thing I thought I would mention. I started in the kitchen here, and I went with, I cannot remember the name of the pack, but it's the one with the kids and the parenthood. And I think that stove is the thank you pack stove. So that would be base game. But a majority of this home is base game. I even selected base game when I was looking for items. So it's not as tasteful as I would like. Very ugly. I'm sorry, base game items, very few of them do I like. But I wanted to keep costs down. I wanted to make it as upload friendly, download friendly as possible by not being pack laden. And I think I achieved it. The problem is I have not uploaded this one to the gallery yet. It was very late when I finished this, but I wanted to play him for a full sim day because for whatever reason, the EA gods decided to grace me with an absolutely beautiful sim. I did not touch anything about him. I did change a bit of his clothes. But this guy is absolutely gorgeous. Even his voice, I didn't have a problem with it. And I do have a problem with EA voices. There's just one aspect, and I think all 3 of the males and 2 of the females, where they make this sickening noise, and it drives me nuts. I can't stand it. I think he does that. But aside from that, he's a gorgeous sim. I think everybody's gonna adore him. So when I want to say when, but I'm going to be a little bit more realistic and say if I do play through, I'm going to focus on him in a way I don't normally do. Now, I can't say I created him, but when I was fixing him up in CAS, I gave him loves dogs and loves cats because he just screamed veterinarian to me. He looks like my vet, but that could change. cats, and he likes cats and dogs, and he's an avid book reader, so I gave him a bookshelf. He's already finished reading 3 books, so he finished the first part of his aspiration. I gave him, in the yard, he has a chess table and an exercise walker. I don't know what you call those things, a runner? I never know what they're called. Stationary, it's not a stationary bike. Sorry about that, and a little choking fit there. Where was I? It doesn't really matter. I think I know what I want to do with this guy if I do a playthrough. But he's really good looking. Anyway, during the walkthrough I noticed I had realized late in the build that I didn't give him a computer. So I went back in and I tried to figure out some way to have him be able to sit down and eat and work on a computer. But I left the table and chairs on the patio in case it didn't work out, then I could just put it back. And then I forgot to delete it. So in the walkthrough, you're going to see it on the back porch. It's not there anymore. It's not there in the gallery. But I apologize for you having to see that in the walkthrough. But I did catch it and I did delete it. So he does have a computer. He has books. He has exercise. And he has logic. So he's got the chess table. So there are things that you can use to progress their skills if you downloaded it on the gallery. The second floor, as I mentioned, it does not exist, but I felt it needed something up there. It was just too barren. There's too much of a gap between the first floor and the second floor. So I did use windows. They don't quite coincide with the windows I chose for the rest of the house, but I think they fit, and that's why they're up there in the attic. And people have attic windows and don't utilize the attic. It's no big deal. But I think it made the house look a little bit more cohesive, and that's why I chose to do that. I still think the colors are a little on the neutral side, and I did end up using the poles, but I had to so that they would hold up the roofing. But I think it is a very cute tiny home, and I think you would enjoy playing in it. But I appreciate the fact that you watched this video. I thank you so much for your time and for your support of my channel. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. I do hope you have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.